Hello, what a lovely day. Sun's bright. Gorgeous, isn't it? And the sun does us good. There's a light in it, white light, that's a healing light. So that's often why it feels so good to be in the sun. I'm just going to do a really quick video because I'll be going out soon. And it's just about what I work with. Let's talk about trauma. How many people have got trauma? And maybe consciously know they've got it, or some people don't know they've got it. But there's always triggers, and that's how we know it's related to a past event. So often people say, I've got this problem, and they think it's about now. It's not about now, it's about the past. Because what your brain does, if you've got trauma, what it would do to protect you, and this is a primitive response, it will give you triggers because the brain pattern matches. So if anything happened in your past, it could have been when you were a child or any age, but particularly a child, because your unconscious is about survival, what it would do is pattern match to anything related to what happened that caused you emotional trauma. So it may be fear, it may be hurt, but it's a very strong emotion because it's never the event that happened that causes trauma, it's the emotion attached to that event. So with that, I will do timeline therapy. And that doesn't mean going back in time to that event. What it is, you're observing it. I won't go to all the details, but basically you don't go back as you were. You're observing it from your adult and your higher self, from above, a safe distance. And what often happens is when I do timeline, for example, that person, they have a memory. Now our memories are unreliable. We can't rely completely on memory. Our brain, if we have a particular fear, what it would do, if we're in a traumatic response, which goes to the amygdala, and if that memory is stored within that part of our brain, what the amygdala does is it will over-exaggerate the memory. It will be negative. It loves negativity, the amygdala, because again, that's a survival mechanism. If we're erring on the side of caution, it's keeping us safe. And that's why we have fight, flight, freeze. So it's a mechanism from primitive times that kept us alive. So what happens if people are in trauma? They're actually in survival mode. So with the therapy I do, I get you to dissociate from the origin of it. So it's never about now. If it feels like it's now, it's just a trigger. It's matching. Your brain will pattern match to what's happened before that caused the trauma. It doesn't have to be the same place, the same people. It can't be. It's called a sloppy pattern match. And the reason for this is in primitive times, let's say, for example, there was a saber-toothed tiger, hypothetically, in the bushes. That caused alarm. It set off an alarm system, which of course it would fight, flight, freeze. Then what happens is your brain says, right, I've got to protect you now. Anything remotely connected with what happened that caused that survival instinct is going to kick in. It's going to send this alarm system of fight, flight, freeze into your system. It's going to give you extra energy, this adrenaline that's going to be coursing, that's going to get your heart rate up. It's going to shut off your saliva. So often people in fear, even if they're not in direct danger, it doesn't matter, you don't have to be. Your brain will pattern match to anything remotely connected with the past that caused you trauma, emotional trauma. So what it does, it will shut off your salivary glands, because if you are in danger, you're not going to be salivating. That's the number one thing. You tend to have a dry mouth. So what you can do, if this happens, make sure you can make saliva. If you don't have chewing gum, then maybe imagine something. Imagine something now that produces saliva. Once your brain registers that you're producing saliva, it knows you're safe. Also, if you're not in immediate danger, tell yourself, I am safe. I am safe. This will update. Your brain listens, particularly your unconscious listens to what you tell it. It takes everything you say as fact. Your unconscious, unlike your conscious mind, doesn't argue. So the words we say, the language we use is really powerful. People often tell me what they don't want. But if I say to you, don't think of a pink elephant, what happens. So when we are telling ourselves the things we don't want, we actually think about the things we don't want. So what we need to do is reverse that in the brain. If you're in a panic attack and you're going, oh my God, I'm panicking, I can't breathe, I feel like I'm going to die, just update it. A panic attack will never ever do you harm. It feels like you're going to die, because that is that primitive response. It's fight, flight, freeze. Get your body moving, because that's what it's doing. That's what it's giving you extra energy. I call panic attacks inappropriate exercise response. It's producing lots and lots of energy that will shunt to your arms and legs to get you moving if you have to run away. But often people aren't in immediate danger. You're not actually in physical danger. It's within your mind. It's a trigger to something that happened in the past. So often the issue's never the issue when people say, this happened, this is how I'm feeling. It's a trigger. So we need to remove the origin of where that trigger comes from. It's not about dealing with what's going on now. It's about dealing with what caused the trauma in the first place. And we don't talk about it. I don't even have to know what happened. The more you talk about the problem, the more you embed the trauma. You're giving it energy, giving it focus. What we focus on, we get more of. What your mind thinks about becomes our reality. If you think about worry, it's not happening now. It's happening, it doesn't even exist. Our future doesn't exist at this moment. But we can create that just by imagination. And we could get ourselves really worked out about something that's not even happening, doesn't exist. But we can create the stress hormones just by thinking about something. What if this? What if that? And what I say to people that have this negative bias in their brain is, what if it goes well? What if you succeed? There's always an alternative, but again, if our brain is in the amygdala, the limbic system, it's going to err on the side of caution. Therefore, it's likely to be negative. It's going to over-exaggerate anything. So just understand that. So if you're feeling anxious, and this is what I've done when I feel anxious and that adrenaline spiking, tell yourself, I am safe. I had a client yesterday use it when she used to get panic attacks. She no longer gets panic attacks. Or sometimes you feel it rising, you feel that adrenaline going, and it could be habit. You're just used to doing it in certain situations. Reverse it. Instead of panicking and listen to the dialogue, you'd normally tell yourself, oh my God, I can't breathe, oh my God, I am safe. I am safe. Swallow, produce saliva, breathe differently, breathe out longer than the in-breath. And you'll soon find that feeds back to your brain, you're safe. Once your brain knows you're safe, it switches off the adrenaline. It stops firing off that alarm system in the brain, because it's oversensitive, and that again is a survival mechanism. If you were being hunted, it wouldn't allow you to relax. You've got to be hypervigilant to noise, a rustling in the bushes or whatever that caused that initial trauma. Whatever it was, it has to pattern match, and it's going to be a sloppy pattern match. So just remember, it just could be your brain is pattern matching to something that happened in the past. It's not about now. So we need to remove the original cause of that. Whatever caused that original fear response in the brain, that's what we work on. But we can calm our system down in the meantime. Just simple things. Breathe out longer than you breathe in. Because when you're stressed, particularly very alarmed, it's more the in-breath, isn't it? And you breathe very quickly and everything's going very, very fast. But you start to slow it down. Start to slow your breath down. Start to breathe out longer. So if you're feeling anxious, do this. Breathe in for 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold the breath for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because when we breathe out longer than we breathe in, we're reversing it now. Well, what we're doing is we've got 2 parts of our nervous system. The parasympathetic, relaxation, the sympathetic, which is action. Okay, so we want to put it into sympathetic. The way we do that is we breathe out longer than we breathe in. 3, 4, 5 breathing is an easy, simple way. It's just one of the many ways. But as long as you're making that out breath longer, And slow the breath down. What you'll find is your nervous system will naturally it will feed back to your brain, you're safe, and keep telling yourself, I'm safe. I am safe. Okay, do the breathing. Keep your mouth moist, whatever it takes, even imagining something in your mouth that makes you salivate. Your brain will now know you're not in danger. You wouldn't salivate if you're in danger. You wouldn't breathe slowly, deeply if you're in danger. So just doing these simple things like first aid will calm your nervous system down. It will take you out of fight, flight, freeze. Okay, I hope this helps. But if you want deeper help to remove trauma or anything else, just let me know. Thanks for watching.